What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Victor Karlsson, and I am super excited to have these World Changer interviews back. This is where we highlight individuals that have seen the darker parts of life, let's just say. But not just that, they've actually found ways, they've learned to overcome these things, and they've learned to transform their lives into something much more fulfilling and empowering. And so our goal here is, of course, to use their story, use their solutions, use whatever they have learned throughout this process to help people that are currently going through the same or similar type of suffering, and to realize that there is a way out. You don't have to suffer anymore. All right, so our guest, our friend today is in Sweden, so I had to get up extra early. I'm still kind of scratching the tiredness out of my eyes. But that's a very small price to pay in comparison to the privilege of getting to talk to world changers from all over the world and to hear their stories and to help impact people's lives just simply by their example. So with no further ado, let's jump right into it. So we'll just get to it right away. Today I'm here with amazing Sandra Wigren. Before I say anything else, I just want to say thank you so much for committing to being a world changer and to committing your time and energy to helping other people understand that no matter how low you get at times, there's always a way out. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Of course. So, yes, that's amazing. So your story is amazing, right? It didn't start, but you used to have a really comfortable life. You're working in the circus industry, right? As a fireworker and a clown. And then you moved on over and you studied journalism, and you actually got jobs at national television in Sweden for channel 3 and 5. And you were one of the few people that helped create the channel, the children's channel, which is today, I would say, one or if not the most popular children's channel in Sweden, which is amazing. And then as everything was feeling probably as good as it could be at the time, your whole world took a 360 flip and some things went down. Do you want to take over and kind of take us from there? Let us know what happened.
Yes, of course. So exactly, you're right. I had my life settled, felt, at the top of my TV career, where everything was going really well. I lived in a 3-4 villa, and great money was coming in. I thought I was really happy, or I was, and I just felt everything was going good. And then I had a holiday booked to Thailand over Christmas and New Year. And I go from Sweden on Christmas Eve, and I wake up in Thailand in Khao Lak, where the tsunami hit very bad. This is 2004. And I don't want to go too much into that experience because everybody knows how bad it was there and how bad the tsunami hit, and all of the things that I went through and what I had to see and observe and all of that is one thing, of course. I survived this nature catastrophe, and that was a huge survival itself. But I want to go directly into what happened afterwards.
Yes.
And I came back to a pretty confused Sweden who did not really know how to handle this catastrophe. So as one of the survivors who did not lose anyone, I was considered, very lucky, and to just for myself as well, be considered to be just very happy and focus on that I was a lucky survivor.
Right.
Though I had seen and gone through all of the things that I had, and there was no focus on or to look at that. So the doctors were like giving me sleeping pills for 2 weeks and getting back to my work as a TV presenter for the children's television channel where I was at that time, with all that meant, and it was working for a while. I was injured though, so that was the first thing that really stopped me from going. I fell down a roof during the tsunami, so my back and neck was pretty bad. But after 6 months, that's when a big black hole just appeared. And it started with at work that there were some complications, and it was difficult for me to work also with the injuries that I had and so on. And I lost my job. And that's where I had the time to review everything, or I didn't do that with purpose, but it came to me like
right. You first time had the time to kind of stop and reflect and feel and take in everything that you probably had set aside, right? All this trauma that you went through was now, you had no option but to actually face all these feelings that you've probably been pushing back a little bit.
Yes. So, and then really strange things started to happen, both with my physical and mental self. I got very, very ill, and started to, I had so many strange things pure physically that happened. My arms would get numb, my face would get numb, paralyzed, and I would lose my speech and my hearings, and a lot of strange things. So every time this happened, I needed to go in to the emergency. I fainted. There was a lot of strange things that happened, and I was so into and up to really save my career, because I was at the top of my TV career, and I just tried to focus on to keep that going. But my state was really getting worse and worse and worse, and I was trying to get back together, but I couldn't. I was really just falling apart. A lot of things came back from the tsunami, mentally as well, that I needed to work with. And for to do a long story short, what happened is that they couldn't give me a diagnosis because of they couldn't really find what was wrong physically. So during 1 year, I was seeing so many doctors. I was doing all of this investigations, about my health, what was going on and so on, and nobody could really see what the problem was. They thought it was, they said everything. It can be a brain tumor, epilepsy. I got so many different things, what they were saying. During this year, it also meant in the Swedish system that when you do not get a diagnosis, you cannot get help financially from the government, which got I got in between the shares, very strange. And from there, it went so fast. I was becoming in debt because I couldn't pay my bills.
Right.
So during this year, just 1 year after the tsunami, I found myself becoming homeless. Going from being a TV presenter that I was at this time to go this far very, very fast.
Yeah.
And becoming there where I got in very, very, I got desperate, really desperate. I had a son of 5 years old at that time. I was losing my home, or I actually did. The Balif, I believe the name is in English, Kronofogden, Balifs. Yeah. They came to get my home, and I didn't. I was getting homeless.
Yeah.
And I was screaming for help. Also, as in my position with the media and stuff, I was trying to give interviews for people to really recognize, to see what was going on. But they only wanted the sunshine story, of that I survived the tsunami and everything went fine. But it didn't. And eventually, I chose to emigrate because it ended up with that I couldn't have a phone, a TV, a credit card, anything. And this can really happen to anyone. And it did to me. It went very fast. And coming to Holland, to Amsterdam, where I emigrated, actually I got a job offer there, and I was seeing this as a possibility to cover my my debts and so on. But I was in such a bad state in every, both physically and mentally. And for me to end up in Amsterdam with all of the things, it was not a good thing for me.
Right.
So, and I actually saw, I tried to just go through with myself, what is it that I can do that can bring me a lot of money very, very quick, that I can solve this debt issue so that I can get back to Sweden. Because the biggest pain of it all is I had to leave my son with his dad. We were separated, but he was with his dad, and I tried to fix my situation. And this I would say is the most terrible thing what I went through, not being able to be with my child.
Yeah.
So I tried to survive, and I tried to find solutions. And doing a lot of research, I thought that going into to very high escorting, which is prostitution, I mean, in every way. But I choose to do that to save my situation. And yes, I got this money to save my debts, but I was so destroyed, and it didn't help. Okay, so it didn't solve my situation. And to make this long story shorter, is that I went so far down as you can really imagine. It was nothing left of me, and I just, on the bottom there, I just really had to look at, am I gonna die now, or am I gonna try to find a way to live? And being, when your whole life is being taken away from you, and also financially, I mean, they took all of my things, they took my home, they took everything that I owned. But being in that level of having nothing, there was something else awakening in me, which I found at that state. And that was such a pure and secure feeling, and a security, of that. It didn't matter that they took everything, because I'm still, what I have in here, my soul and me, I can't reach that. I am so wealthy with, what I have inside here.
With life, right? Yeah.
So from there, something happened, and I started to pick myself up, to look up at that surface, and to really kick myself up again. And with that, I ended up with this prostitution, or the luxury escorting and stuff. I was self-medicating myself with a lot of alcohol, with a lot of drugs and stuff, just to be able to survive as I felt it. And I thought there was a solution, for the moment. But the way I see it is that you always, no matter what you go through, no matter what situations you end up in, you always have a choice in what side to feed. Do you get what I mean with that?
Yes.
I was becoming destructive. I chose to use alcohol and drugs as a survival. That was only making me in a worse state.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, because you were the most incredible thing about this, I would say, is that you were actually out there seeking help, but you didn't get it, right? None of this was your fault, which it really never is, right? I'm not saying that some people do, but some people don't. But it's just, you literally just got your life swept under your feet, away from you, and you were trying to reach out for help, and you didn't find it. And so the only way for you to feel like a human was to basically stop feeling, right? You would take all these supplements and all these things to change your state, like alcohol and drugs, right? To suppress these feelings that you didn't know what to do with, that you couldn't get any help with releasing, right? And so that's what we talked about last time we were on the phone. What happens, right, when you have nothing left is you don't even have feelings left, right? It's like you open up your heart. You're so vulnerable to the world that all that can come out is love, right? All your fears are gone because you don't have anything left to lose, right? And so then, like you said, you have a choice. You either choose to end your life then and there, or you choose to act on this insanely powerful power that is within all of us, which is pure love, when it's not covered with fears. Right. And so that's why I look up to you so much. And I think this story is so incredible, is that even though you were so low mentally, you still find a way to flip the switch and start moving forward. And so if you remember that time, what would you say was, when did you become aware of this, that there is a power in me and that I can actually move back, I can take myself back up?
So being at the lowest bottom, yes, but before that, I chose alcohol, I chose drugs, I choose
Mm-hmm.
to delay this process of maybe seeing this earlier.
Yeah.
And today, I no matter how strange it sounds, I see all of this as a blessing. I
Right.
live another life today. I have so many other, values, and I see life in a totally different way. And I am so thankful because I would
It's
never have
amazing.
been able to do
Amazing.
that. And
Yeah.
there is such a, what came, the prize that I was given out of going through this is such a secure feeling within myself and who
Mm-hmm.
I am. And that is just priceless. Nothing can beat that,
Mm.
that security and calm feeling.
Right.
So I see it as a gift in the end. And the even bigger gift is that I developed a system, and I found really important keys of where in this procedure you can stop this earlier,
Mm-hmm.
flip things around, and
Mm-hmm.
seriously take that pain that you've been through, no matter what it is. Because pain can never be compared either. I mean, what's painful to me, maybe it's not painful to you. It is, pain is pain and different for each
Right.
and every one.
Right.
But what you can learn what to do is to turn this pain to become your power.
Mm.
And that is so interesting. I
That
find this
is,
so interesting too, that everyone can do this.
yes. And
So
so this is what
I
you're
see it
teaching
as,
today, right?
yeah, yes.
Amazing.
And the harder
Amazing.
you have been trained, the bigger your mission is. That's what I believe.
Absolutely.
And that can actually be as a comfort for people going through really rough things,
Mm-hmm.
that they have a big mission. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, yeah, it's touching. It really is. I want to touch on this in the transition period. So, at any given moment of time, there's really three things that determine our outcome of our lives, right? And those three things are our beliefs, our internal dialogue, the conversation that's going on with ourselves in our head, and our physical body. So what would you say was the biggest switch in these three, in your beliefs and your internal dialogue and your body, from being at this hopelessness, or living in this hopelessness, and being at the place where you were taking all these substances, to being empowered by your inner spirit, right? What would be the biggest switches there? And let's start with your beliefs. What were some beliefs you used to have, and what ended up happening?
well, I would say, first of all, stop seeing myself as a victim.
Mm,
That's where the real switch came, and where I instead choose to look at, the strengths that I had,
mm,
and what that did to me, both physically and everything, how I started to reflect things and see myself differently. And it's so easy to get stuck in this, self-destruction and feel sorry for yourself, but it's never going to help you in any way.
mm,
And the sooner you get out of that and just flip things around, it's so, you can never, put on pause when you're going through something difficult. You
mm.
have to go through it from
Yes.
start to the end. But when you're done with the pain and the suffering, as soon as possible, to dare and to be brave enough to reflect what did actually come out of it.
Yeah.
There is a lot of good things, and a lot of things that actually also brings out and shows your abilities, your strengths, your talents, a lot of things, good things
Yeah.
comes out of it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You
did I
mentioned
answer
that.
any of your?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So the one of the main beliefs was that you switched from feeling and being in a victim state to more of an empowered state, to know that I can actually change. What about your inner dialogue? What was kind of the self-talk that was going on? Did you change that up at all? I mean, obviously, but what kind of went on there?
That was a bit of a longer process, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started with, of course, that I started to tell myself things differently as well.
Yeah.
Very important, because your self dialogue is like it's major important for you to
Yeah.
be able to develop as well. But I would say the day when I started to be authentic and transparent, first of all to myself, yes, that was the
Mm-hmm.
first state, but then also in the second state to other people, that's also when things really started to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you always are out, from your heart, and doing things from there, saying things from out of your heart, then you can always only feel secured.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing that can go wrong if
Mm-hmm.
you work through your heart. So that's like the second thing that happened, that I saw that being authentic and just being from your heart was the big solution. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So on the other side of fear, that's where freedom is, right? It's scary to
Yeah.
face
Yes.
fears at times, but when we do and we get to the other side, 100 times out of 100, we wish we would have done it sooner. I have a lot of
Yes.
experiences with this myself, and it's an incredible sensation to engage something that we are so afraid of, but to realize that that is where freedom lies. And
Yes.
it's incredibly powerful. So to wrap up this interview, the last question I want to ask you is, if you got one chance to kind of imprint one idea or one concept into every human being alive's mind, for them to just take this on as a truth and live by it, what would it be?
That would again be the authenticity. Oh,
Mm.
that is a difficult
It's a
word,
tricky
but
one, yeah, for sure.
yeah. And to, as I said before as well, to dare to overview, to look into
Mm.
their story and things that they have been through, and to dare to turn it into power, because that's the reason why we go through it, is because of that we're getting much more strength and becoming more powerful. So
Absolutely. Because as Tony Robbins always says, life is always happening for you, not to you.
yeah,
We're having
true.
problems just so that we can learn from them, right? If we didn't have any, the only people that don't have any problems are the people in the cemeteries, right? So if we can switch to learn that, right? If we can switch to believe that problems are actually there to help us and not to set us back, I think that, like you said, we would live a completely different life, all of us. So once again, thank you so much for taking your time and being with us today and sharing your story. You're incredible.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I will make sure to link your pages onto this video so that people can reach out to you if they feel like, they relate to you and your story, and maybe they themselves haven't been able to talk about this before. I know Sandra is somebody she's a safe zone, right? You can go and talk, and she is there to help. She's a world changer, and she's here to raise the vibration of the planet, and you're doing amazing. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
so much. It's an honor. I'm so glad to be in here as well. Thank you.